Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the WTF1 podcast, post-Belgian Grand Prix edition. Yes, we are here to talk about the Ferrari masterclass of this weekend and to bask in the glory of Charles Leclerc back in the championship. Only 12 points behind. Oh, no, then I woke up. But hey, welcome. We're joined by Team WTF1 live right now. If you want to go and join Team WTF1 and see this podcast live on a Monday, as well as lots of other benefits, then please do go sign up. And also, this podcast is once again sponsored by Elgato, our season-long partners, and making me cry in the highest of definitions for your viewing pleasure with all this amazing equipment. And again, before we get into anything Formula One, we're going to shout out one of you lovely people who gave us a 5-star review. We don't shout you out if you do 4 stars, I'm sorry. This one is from Mary Keyblom from South Africa on Apple Podcasts. They said, love your show and the opinions that you share. As a female F1 fan, I assume that was meant to say, since the age of 8, all of your passions for the sport is great. Listen to every episode as soon as it is up. Keep on going. Thank you very much. That is very kind.
Love to see it.
If you didn't listen, we would just be talking to ourselves, and that wouldn't be so fun. So thank you. Right. So, of course, joined by Tom Bellingham, the WTF1 founder and smug, as always, and Katie Fairman, who I guess doesn't really have a negative or positive emotion because Nico Rosberg.
Now Ricciardo's not got a seat. I'm a bit wobbly, but we'll be okay.
Bit wobbly.
I can't lose Seb and Ricciardo in the same year, or I will just hibernate and never come back out again.
At least Danny Rick had a good result this week. Oh, wait.
That was really mean.
I know. I actually thought he'd scored points. Then I looked and I was like, oh, no, he didn't. Anyway, 3-word race reviews. Let's get into some of yours that submitted on social media. McConkey _ Max Verstappen masterclass. Formula1.ch. Where was Ferrari? And Linda.Linus Super Max. Is that all you could choose, Tommy? Huh?
There was nothing.
Belittles Ferrari and then everything that's, oh, Max, you're amazing.
That's literally all there was.
Oh, good. Great. Well, why don't we go into my 3-word race review as well? Because that's even more Max Verstappen.
You are a fanboy.
Praising. Yeah, well, I did
you
say.
You said after Hungary, didn't you?
So no longer a Ferrari fan. Big first dub as a Max Verstappen fan this weekend. Felt good. And my 3-word race review is Max too good. Just in a completely different league for the Belgian Grand Prix. It's just man and machine in harmony, working incredibly well. He was so clear of Perez. The fact that he was the bookies' favourite going into the race, starting, 15th originally, then promoted to 14th, that just shows that everyone knew it was inevitable. The only thing that could have gone wrong was the chaos that happened in lap 1, but Max managed to navigate it beautifully, probably because of all of his experience playing on Formula One games and iRacing games. You know, you get a good sort of experience of pretty much F1 sprint lobby kind of chaos that ensued on lap 1. But yeah, he navigated through. I think he was P8 by the end of the first lap. He was winning by the end of lap 12, but then I guess officially winning even with strategies combined by lap 18. So yeah, he was just ridiculous. Probably one of the best drives ever in the sense of just being so clear of everyone, at least in his career.
Yeah, I can't even remember a time, like you say, the thing about the bookies' favourite when you qualify 15th. When does that ever happen? We've had drives through the field from other drivers, but I can't remember one off the top of my head that just felt so easy. And even me, as the pessimistic Max Verstappen fanboy that I am, that doesn't like to jinx things or get too ahead of myself, by lap 5, even I was like, he's won this. The only way is a mechanical failure that he's not winning this in 5 laps. And other races where people come through the field, you're expecting maybe at the end of the race, but like I say, he'd won. We all knew he was going to win by lap 5. It's absolutely insane. And he managed to make it look so unspectacular, which just shows how dominant it was. And yeah, it was not the greatest of races. Like one day we'll look back on it and it would be one of those things in the highlights package when probably when Max is retired, and we'll see how many wins and titles he ends up with. But that will go back as one of his races. Like, you look back on the things that like Schumacher did and Senna and all this kind of stuff. It's like, wow, that race, he absolutely annihilated the field. But when we were watching it, it was just so unspectacular. He just made it look so easy for a drive through the field. And just an absolute madness.
Was sensational drive. I really love seeing drives where they come from the back to the front. I mean, Lewis Hamilton in Brazil last year comes to mind, and things like that. I think it's really an exciting challenge to spectate and to watch. But like you say, Max just made it look so easy. He looked like he was having a Sunday drive. He was just so dominant. And like, even, you know, him starting in 15th, like you say, Matt, progressed to 14th with Tsunoda's penalty. But the drivers in the press pen on Saturday were like, yeah, it's a good qualifying position, but Max will be past us by like the third lap. And it was just insane, like how fans know it's inevitable, the drivers know it's inevitable. I mean, Mercedes made a prediction. I think it was that Max would be within the top 5 by lap 7. He was, and we even had a safety car in that time. Like, it's just crazy how inevitable he seems to be. I think Spa's maybe a little bit of a anomaly in the sense that he was so dominant, but that was because there were a lot of variables really working in his favor. I kind of hope, for the sake of the championship, that it's not like this at every single race. Obviously, Tommy and the rest of the Verstappen fans might disagree, but in terms of entertainment, it would be quite nice if we saw a bit of variety.
Better not wish for it, Tommy, or I'm coming for you.
But just an amazing race from Max, like pretty much flawless. So
we didn't even mention the qualifying as well, that he only did one run. There's actually a great video of, I don't know if you saw it, but it was the cool down room of Lando, where he comes up to him and he's like, oh, only 6 tenths ahead. And then Max goes, oh, and I only did one run. And Lando just like walks off like, that's ridiculous.
Wasn't that in the weighing bit?
The weighing bit, sorry, yeah. But yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. And the fact that he's now done it twice from 10th or lower. Like, we've
not been done since 1959, has it?
Exactly. Well, 1960 technically.
Oh, well, you told me that fact. I put it in Internet's Best Reactions, and then he's telling me it's wrong. Unbelievable.
Well, technically, you're kind of right, because it was done first in 59, and then it was the next race that he did it in 60. So it was over like the break. But I can't believe two very different races as well, that he's done it in Hungary, where you can't really overtake, Spa, where you can overtake, which is why everyone decided to take the penalties. And it showed why everyone took penalties, because, my word, you can just fly by on the Kemmel Straight. But my only disappointment is that he didn't start from the pit lane, because I still think he would have won, and he'd have been the first try to do it.
Bore off.
Just needs it more difficult. Come on.
Yeah, turn up the AI difficulty a bit, because he definitely turned it down to 0 for this particular weekend. Next question. First question. Tilka Tracks comes in with, can Max break the record of 13 races in a season? Yes. Next.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 9 wins so far. Is that right, Tommy, as the Verstappen fanboy?
Yeah.
That is okay. Just
8 to go.
Yeah, 8 to go. So I think it could well happen. And I was thinking yesterday, great, I'm really happy. I was thinking yesterday, I think it's unlikely, but if we'd even see the chance of Verstappen getting close to Vettel's record of just winning 9 races solid in a row. But like I said earlier, I think the remaining tracks, if Ferrari aren't competitive at some of them, then genuinely it's a travesty, because they should be. So we'll have to wait and see. But hopefully, by me mentioning it right now and nipping it in the bud, I've jinxed it, and it won't happen.
No, but now you've said that you're trying to jinx, and jinxes don't work if you're trying to jinx. So, Katie, it was working up until the point you announced the jinx.
I am so sorry.
You almost saved Ferrari's season. Thanks.
So much has happened this season, though. You can never, even though he's on phenomenal form and he's won those 2 races, we've seen moments before. Silverstone is an example that he was going to, probably win that one, and something happened to the floor, and that he has had DNFs as well. But it does kind of look at the moment that if he doesn't have a mechanical failure, he's winning. So he needs 5 from the last 8 which you
Yeah,
could
it's done.
definitely see happening. But you never know. I think that at the end of the day, Spa did flatter them quite a bit, but we'll go into that later.
Will we? I don't want to go into it later, Tommy. Thank you. Actually,
I'm
that's
done
the
talking
end
about
of talking about Max Verstappen. Next question from Team WTF1 Mega versus Mega versus Primus. Since Max has won 9 races so far this season, are these new regulations actually working, or is the effectiveness of the new regulations track dependent? I think it's very easy to get lost in the fact that, or forget what the regulations actually were trying to do, right? That the first and biggest priority for the FIA was to allow for the cars to race closer, and that is absolutely happening. I think a lot of people are forgetting that before these new regulations, cars could maybe fight for 1 or 2 laps and then their tires would overheat, or they would slide around because of the dirty air, and then again tires would overheat, degrade, whatever, and they wouldn't be able to fight. Whereas now they can follow a lot closer. Yes, Red Bull have got it very, very right. Ferrari have got it right at some occasions. The new regulations were, I suppose, always going to create this big gap because it was open to interpretation. We can see so many different concepts of car on the grid. Some have worked, some haven't, and that's causing this big field spread. But as the years go by, you would expect teams to get on top of the problems that they're facing. Mercedes and Hamilton saying that, they need to build the 2023 car now. Let's sack off the rest of the season kind of vibes. But yeah, like the start of a new era of regulations is always going to create a field spread, as much as we all hope and pray that it's going to be close, as well as having close racing. But realistically, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, really. The regulations were never meant to close the field. It was about improving the racing. And Spa maybe is not the best example of that, because you can overtake quite well at Spa anyway, and you always have been able to do because of that long or straight. But Hungary last time out was a perfect example of, you could see so much more passing and drivers being able to follow, that you can't do the things that Besti and Alonso did in the previous year and just block because you can't overtake. The fact that there's been a lot better racing, there's been a lot of overtaking, and I think it's very easy to jump on the fact that we've had a completely dominant race from Verstappen, and no doubt a lot of people will worry that we're now in this new Red Bull going to be the new Mercedes and Verstappen's going to be the new Hamilton. But at the end of the day, like you said, Matt, the new regulations, someone will get it right. And realistically, if you think back to the last time regulations were changed in quite a dramatic way, was 2014. And there's no way the Red Bull have had an advantage like Mercedes have had in 2014.
Well, if they keep on the journey of what they've done in Spa, then maybe
Yeah, but let's be honest, if Ferrari had not screwed up, sorry, Matt, but if they hadn't, we'd have had a lot closer title fight. So it is actually, they're not miles ahead. We don't go into every single... We haven't gone into every single race so far and think, oh, Verstappen, it's a battle for pole between Verstappen and no one. So it has been fairly close. And I think the regulations, naturally, the others will catch up eventually. But the racing's been made a lot better, that's for sure. So it's good.
I agree. I think, without just repeating what you guys have said, if you look at maybe on paper how the season's gone so far, like look how many poles Leclerc's got, for example. Like Tommy said, it's not just Max Verstappen getting pole, getting the win, and like running away with the championship every single weekend. We have seen a real mix of competitiveness from both the teams. And with the change of regulations, you're always going to get one team or two teams that maybe find loopholes or just understand the regulations and have like better brains in their team than others, and that benefit and can do better from the regulations. So I don't think it's a case of like we're going to see Red Bull dominance from now until maybe 2026 when the engine rules change or whatever. But I think that the regulations are working well in terms of like giving us better racing, better overtaking, etc. So I'd say it's working in that sense of things.
Lovely.
Hopefully,
Red Bull stop being so good. Next question comes in from Disaster Class. but with a H, masterclass. What was the race the Red Bull car became the clear best this season? Because in Austria, it still should have been a 1-2 for Ferrari. I think you've answered your own question there, really. It hasn't been the clear best this season. Up until Spa, I think you can't really say that Red Bull have had an advantage like that. And yeah, it's been toing and froing. A lot of the time, Ferrari should have won, or at least got a lot more points from a lot more weekends. Don't make me go into it. So I think Spa has been the only, if we now have this running trend of Red Bull being quicker than Ferrari for the rest of the season, then Spa will be the turning point.
Yeah, very much so. I think Spa is maybe a golden example of like how it's just all worked out for Red Bull. Max is on his absolute A game. The car's well suited to this track. So I think that's why we've just seen them become so dominant this weekend. But I don't think we should write like I said earlier, just say, oh well, Red Bull will everything from here on out, because there should be some tracks coming up that maybe suit the Ferrari a bit better or whatever. So
just because Ferrari are quicker does not mean they will end up on top. So Red Bull will win everything from here on in. Yes.
Okay.
It's quite easy to look on that race and go, oh yeah, Red Bull just far and away the best car. But if we go back to Australia, I'm sure Matt will love to
let's
reminisce
do it.
about that.
43-point championship lead. Here we go.
But Leclerc absolutely annihilated everyone in that race. And he was so far ahead of Verstappen before he had his failure.
Keep going.
And the Ferrari was clearly the best. And we were all going, oh, Ferrari just going to completely dominate everything. Which
and they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And now they're 198 points clear.
Yeah.
So Spa is a very extreme track. We've seen the strengths of Ferrari and we've seen the strengths of Red Bull. And this track is Red Bull through and through. I also read something on AMUS, who said, they're the techie guys. They mentioned that there were apparently bumps in the track that surprised Ferrari and Mercedes, so they had to raise the ride height of their car a little bit more than expected, which basically meant that Red Bull were even quicker, which explains the gap.
And also explains the Sainz radio constantly, where he was having to avoid bumps in turn 5, turn 16, all that stuff.
Exactly. So Ferrari truly believe, and Ferrari are always right, clearly, that it's just the way the track's gone. They don't believe it's anything to do with this new technical directive or anything, that Red Bull haven't been pegged back at all and all the other teams are now going to be terrible. It's just the way that went. And like Katie said, when we get to Zandvoort, and I think Singapore is another example, if Ferrari are nowhere near Red Bull then I'd start to worry, but not now.
Oh, there's no worrying involved. What's there to even play for the rest of the season?
I just meant more going forward.
No, it's fine. We'll just focus on 2023 from here on in. Come on. When does Ferrari pack it up and focus on 23? I think it's pretty soon, isn't it? Next question, Gust Flater. Should Ferrari and Mercedes give up the rest of the season and use it for testing the 2023 car? I hadn't actually read that question.
Tell me you don't read the podcast sheet without telling me you don't read the podcast sheet.
I know, right? But it's nice. It's nice to have pure reactions. I think, Mercedes are going to give up. I think Hamilton's already said that, let's just bin it off and focus on 2023. And to be honest, I think probably Mercedes had already started that, because they are out of it now. And it's a shame, because it looks as though they've gone backwards rather than forwards. I know we are just basing it on Spa at the moment, but is Hamilton going to keep his win streak up in every season he's competed in? I would hope so. I'd like to see him get one, just so that can continue, because he's had a few brilliant drives this season, which could have easily ended up in a victory had it not been for Verstappen. And Ferrari, bin it off. Honestly, just sack it off. Focus on 2023 now. Even if you do get the car right for the rest of the year, your strategy team is great. So you just sack it off, guys. Honestly, it's time to focus on 2023. Rejig everything. Get your interns on the strategy wall. See if they can do a better job for the second half of the season. Try and find a diamond in the rough and fix everything that's gone wrong with Ferrari. Maybe including Binotto. There's a lot of talk as well about Binotto, and is he the right man for the job? No comment.
I don't know about Ferrari this race. Do you think people were maybe overly critical just because they're a bit of a meme again, or did they completely lose it, or were they just the slower car and they still got a fairly decent result? And Leclerc was quite unlucky with the tear off. Obviously, we'll go into the fastest lap shenanigans later, which was interesting to say the least. But yeah, there's no point Mercedes and Ferrari kind of going really hardcore on the season, but then the regulations aren't changing that much. It's not like last year where you go, oh, you put it all into next year because it's completely different, so you can get a big advantage. So at the end of the day, they just need to, there'll be a few changes, but I think, let's be honest, Mercedes in particular, I'm sure Ferrari as well, will be thinking about 2023.
Yeah, I think the term like give up, I don't think either team should just completely
I think they should.
No, I think that would be really bad for motivation.
No, it'd be good for Ferrari fans if they say we've given up. You go, okay,
no,
we'll stop
expectations.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe for like damage control for the Tifosi, maybe it'll be a good thing. But I still think it's worth having some emphasis on this year, because although maybe Red Bull have, gone clean, like there is still money to be won with the Constructors' Championships. If Ferrari can finish ahead of Mercedes, or Mercedes finish ahead of Ferrari, like that's still valuable cash that they could be like happy with. And also, yeah, within the team, if you start a season, this is just from my personal opinion, but if you start a season on such a high and there's so much excitement around your car, if you've got to like the first race after the summer break and you've gone, do you know what, we're just going to pack it in, like screw the rest of the season, I don't think that's going to be particularly motivating within the team personally. So I think maybe like a 75 25% split or something like that. I don't really know. Like I tried to play F1 Manager this week. I was shocking. So I have a newfound respect for all the team principals and all the F1 like team managers and stuff. But just personally, I think from a motivation perspective, maybe don't just completely give up. And also, can I just have a little mini rant, because I haven't had one in ages? I'm kind of getting a bit annoyed at Toto Wolff calling this car undrivable, because it's not undrivable. It's just worse than they're normally used to.
Oh my God, it's so Mercedes are so privileged that I'm sure they said that that's the worst qualifying we've ever had, and they were 4th and 5th.
I know. Like, I know they would benefit from
every other team for the last 7 years must be like, oh, jog on.
It is like quite frustrating to like you say, hear Toto, calling the car a diva or an S-box. I won't swear because I don't know what I can do on YouTube and the podcast, but and yeah, like you say, the qualifying results are still like 4th and 5th, and Mercedes are still, collecting a good haul of points and stuff like that. So I feel like maybe Toto needs to stop calling it undrivable and instead just be like, we haven't made the best car in the world, and that's annoying, but hey ho, sometimes the cookie crumbles that way, but that's my little mini rant. There we go.
Yeah, this is what happens when you're used to winning for so long. Yeah, you throw your
Everyone's
toys out
got a
the pram,
target on their
right?
back apparently this year.
Well, they do, because they're all in front of them. So like, not target. But yeah, no, it's this is what happens when you win for so long. There's an expectation to win, and they're not, and it's not undrivable. I mean, try and get in the Haas, I suppose, or the who was the slowest car this weekend? Would we say
probably Haas?
Yeah, Haas. Yeah, to be fair. So yeah, it's just a little bit petulant, really, isn't it? It's just like, oh, come on, no, it's not undrivable though, is it? No. George was chasing down the blooming Ferrari at the end of the race. Like, Jesus. Yeah, cool. So, in a nutshell, Ferrari give up? No, maybe not. But to be fair, I would also say maybe it's good for motivation, focusing on next year, because this year has been such a disaster for Ferrari, and they should be winning the world title potentially. But either or.
Do you feel like they not learn their lesson, because obviously it happened with I feel like they were really asking Leclerc everything, and they were having all these discussions a lot more than usual to try, and they must have known a little bit what's been going on, because they really made a thing of it. And oh my word, F1 TV knew exactly what they were doing, broadcasting every single little thing, by the way, to make sure that it was played out to continue that narrative. So
yeah, it was like they've kind of gone, right, oh god, yeah, no, we should probably ask Leclerc what he wants, but at the same time they were like rolling out plan A to Z live on the radio, and they're like, "Well, Charles, would you like some fresh mediums to go through the field, or would you like some fresh hards, perhaps? Maybe lap 47." They properly went into detail, which you never hear on any team radio ever. So they were almost quite scared to make the call, which is almost a bit too far in the other direction, where you go, like, there has to be some kind of, right, we think we're going to do this. Is this okay? Sort of thing, rather than, well, we've got these options available. Please. It's like when you play in the F1 game, they go, a new strategy options available to you. Just that's all the driver needs. Charles doesn't know what's going on around him, who he's going to fall into traffic with, etc., etc. So it was almost a little bit too far the other way for me. But I appreciate, as I said in Internet Best Reactions, Ferrari trying to communicate with their driver.
At least he tried, Cake.
Yeah, literally, where it was, there needs to still be some kind of conviction from Ferrari, but to allow Charles to go, no, I don't want to do that. So they're getting there, maybe next race.
Maybe by 2035, they'll have an idea of what they're doing.
Wow, I'll be 42 years old. Right, Tommy,
3-word
race review.
My 3-word race review is Leave to Space. And this is obviously about the first lap collision between old rivals, Alonso and Hamilton. It's a lap 1 incident. We barely got to see it because I don't really know what the camera operator was doing, but they completely missed it. I think they were focusing too far back.
Maybe on Max or something. See how it gets on.
But it's a rare mistake from Hamilton. He just turned in, really, like Alonso wasn't there. And I feel like that corner at Spa is nothing like the corner itself, but in terms of, it's always a disaster. That turn at Austria, where as soon as you're going around the outside of it, you can't really run side by side, yet people continually still try and do it, and it never, ever works. I mean, Hamilton even had a collision with Rosberg there way back. In F2, you saw drivers try and go side by side, and they'd either crash or one of them would have to bail off onto the runoff because it's just too tight of a corner. And another thing was, it was just a big shame that it killed a lot of the intrigue that we needed, because I don't think Alonso would have got a podium because I don't think he had the pace, but he was running in that podium spot. Hamilton probably would have given Sainz a bit more of a challenge. Perez was actually very, very fortunate that those two had that crash, because he had a woeful start, and that just helped him massively because he ended up straight behind Sainz on the restart. And it's a shame because it killed quite a lot of the intrigue. But just to cover it, fair play to Hamilton for admitting it was his fault, even if Alonso was pretty savage on the radio.
Oh, massively savage, but Hamilton did not care. Did not want. No. A lot of reporters wanted to stir the pot and get Hamilton's initial reaction to Alonso saying he knows how to drive at the front, but he did not have any interest in that. For me, I'd argue slightly against that, Tommy, in the sense that corner we saw work quite a few times during the race, and it was more the fact that a lot of drivers that sweep around the outside have a willing driver to not stick it up the inside. Alonso was never going to give that position to Hamilton. He was never going to give it up, and I think Lewis maybe forgot who he was racing. But
if
just
you got there someone
assumed,
there, you look how close he was to the apex.
He just assumed that Fernando
would back out.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of times we saw. I mean, Esti Besti did a double overtake into that exact corner, went round the outside. Like, it was possible. And we saw a bit of action, I think, in the midfield as well with Aston Martins and whatnot, where it did actually work out, but they have to be, they swoop all the way around the outside, and usually the inside car just kind of goes, you know what? Fair enough. We'll get you back on the next lap. Whereas Fernando's going, absolutely not. I will be on the inside of the corner. It's your job to not turn in. And Lewis did. And he was, straight up and apologized and said, that was my fault, and that's fair enough. And we move on. And there's been a lot of talk about why didn't Hamilton get a penalty for that particular incident. I don't think it really warranted a penalty, personally. I think it was just a bit of a racing incident. Yeah, he says it was his fault, but you can still lay blame on someone, even if it is a bit of a racing incident. So, and he got his just desserts. Was it just desserts?
Just desserts, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, not that penalties should have the consequence of what happens, but 100% every single time there is a level of consequence to
Yeah,
it.
the
even
fact
if
that
in the rule
Alonso
book
is
there
still in the
isn't.
race.
Yeah,
and
Alonso's still in the race.
fine
Hamilton's
somehow.
out.
Hamilton, yeah.
Yeah, and his car was relatively okay. Like, I think if Alonso maybe had to come in and change a front wing and blah, 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 like maybe there would have been a penalty there. But I think the fact that Hamilton was forced to retire from the race was kind of like, okay, well, you know, everything's settled. The scales are settled. So we won't issue a separate penalty for like Zamford.
Not that should be the case.
No.
But it just so is. It's the clearest thing ever where you go, well, that's probably going to be a penalty if both of them carry on in the race. And there's because he did have a bit of on one of his wheel winglets, didn't he? Alonso had a shaking wheel winglet on his front left, but apart from that, he was pretty much fine. But yeah, I'm not particularly for Hamilton getting some sort of penalty for that.
No, I just like to also say, Tommy, I really like this 3-word race review because it's a cheeky little, tip of the hat to an iconic bit of Alonso team radio. But yeah, I think fair play to Hamilton for, coming into the media pen saying, I've looked at the replays, I was at fault. Alonso was in my blind spot was, what he said was the reason. And yeah, the fact that some journalists, fair play, I probably would have done the same, kind of maybe stirring the pot a little bit, trying to get something out of Hamilton, see if he'll bite. Like, that's literally their job. But yeah, in one of them, Hamilton's just like, I don't care. And almost like a mic drop and just walks away from the end of the interview, which I also saw somebody share, and Hamilton liked it, which I thought was quite funny that he's, seeing that the Hamilton fans enjoyed that little I'm out of here kind of vibe, and walked off. So yeah, I think it's just an unfortunate lap one collision. And yeah, like you say, sad to see Hamilton out the race because that would have added an extra layer of spice and excitement. But unfortunately he was at fault for that. So
he'd have beaten the signs as well. He'd have been on the podium.
Yeah, probably would have been. Would have been ahead of Russell, and it would have been closer because the Mercedes looked very close to the Ferrari to say how much slower they were. One thing that was funny that I'll just mention as well is that the thing about Alonso, one thing that made me laugh when I watched the media interview afterwards is that he obviously went in on Hamilton, called him an idiot, said he can only drive at the front of the field. And then when the journalists said, you said this, he kind of backtracked. And it's an understandable thing. We say it all the time that it's in the heat of the moment. He's talking to his engineer. He doesn't think about the broadcast, and he'll be different. And he'll be, yeah, I know, but yeah, I know, but he'll be different in the media. I'd be a bit more calm and reserved. And then he said that, and then went in on Ferrari in the media pen, calling their strategy terrible. So,
did they say terrible? I thought it was surprising.
Yeah, he basically made a cheeky comment about them. So, yeah, Alonso being Alonso, you love to see it. He's just a character, and my word, even though it's the worst decision, one of the worst decisions ever for him to go to Aston Martin, thank goodness he's getting a multi-year contract because we need him in F1 for a long time because
he makes my job very easy.
I just love it.
He's very click-worthy, isn't he? Would you have given Hamilton a penalty for that racing incident?
No, I feel like he got his own problem by essentially DNFing. So I know you can't take consequence in, like you say, but I think a grid penalty would have been too harsh.
So Benjamin Dale 10, did Lewis give enough space and not know he was there, or did he cut him off? Well, yeah, I think we kind of just answered that where, well, he didn't give Alonso enough space and pretty much owned up to it. So we'll move on. Katie, what's your 3-word? Oh, I can see what it is. Let's see how you say this.
My 3-word race review is yesty, esty, bestie. It's a very serious 3-word race review. And that is about...
I wonder who it's about.
Well, it's actually about Fernando. No, it's about Esteban Ocon. And I thought he had a really lovely weekend. So I wanted to cheer about it. And yeah, decided with Tommy yesterday that was going to be the 3-word race review. So I hope everybody enjoys that. Like a brilliant qualifying, well, just generally a great weekend for Alpine, to be honest with you. Esteban saying that probably one of the best that he's ever had since he's been with the team. And I would agree with that. And then, of course, not one double overtake, but 2 double overtakes. So a really good display of his talent this weekend. And yeah, I'm very happy for him. So there you go. There's my little Esteban Ocon praise corner, and we can talk about something else if you want.
No, we'll probably still reflect on it. Yeah, Esteban was very good. Yeah, he those overtakes were brilliant, and I think he was very happy with himself as well, as you say in the media pen afterwards. So yeah, he deserves the plaudits for sure. Thought he finished 7th in the end.
Yeah.
So
it was.
Yeah, P7, and that's from the back. So yeah, really good drive and showing that he's got some skills. I don't know what more to say. He was very good. Yeah,
I felt like it was going to be another one of those races where, despite him starting last and Alonso, I was all being like, could Alonso lead at the first lap? That Ocon looked like he was going to beat Alonso in the race again at one point, that he was kind of closing in. But the two double moves were epic. And actually, the one that people will remember, and I see the one going on socials, is the one on Vettel, where it's very reminiscent to the Mika Häkkinen Schumacher one from Spa in 2000. But for me, Zonta, the only thing he's remembered for is being part of that move. But oh my word, the move at the bus stop actually for me was the better one. That was a beauty.
That was
around
good.
The outside. Yeah, that was quality.
With
so well
Ricciardo
done.
And Latifi. That was a sexy move.
Cool yourself down, Katie. really loving that one.
Those
Yeah.
overtakes.
Well done, Esti.
Well done, Esteban. Question from Wartsa. Seeing the pace of McLaren and Alpine this weekend, do you think Alpine is the 4th team until the end of the season? Well, I think they're going to be stronger than McLaren for the rest of the season. Yeah, not necessarily going to be stronger every single race, but McLaren, they escape a lot of criticism, in my opinion. And Tommy is of the exact same. And it was actually his opinion that I was like, yeah, that's a very good point, Tommy. So I am just backpacking off of what you're saying. But McLaren, pretty terrible. Danny Rick was running in a reasonable 9th for a while, and then he just disappeared, and I think he had to pit again at the end of the race. But yeah, Alpine looked really strong. I mean, the fact that Ocon can start from the back and finish 7th, Norris started at the back and finished 12th, I think. So there is a pace differential between the two. And I think Tommy's going to have to be buying a lot of Alpine merch come the end of the year.
Buy the Fernando Alonso much. It might be discounted.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Save myself some money. I wonder if Piastri is regretting that tweet now because Alpine, they look the better package than McLaren right now. You're right. I don't think McLaren get enough criticism for how awful they've been this year. Everyone laughs at Ferrari, but realistically, where are McLaren? They're meant to be this top team as well, that not only haven't built a car that's good enough, they seem to be doing poor strategies. Their car, whatever setup they had on that car, oh my word, they made it look like when Daniel Ricciardo had the DRS, I think he had the wrong wing on or something anyway, but McLaren with the DRS looked like they didn't even have DRS. It looked so slow, and they just seem to be going backwards. It's just really poor. And I think Ricciardo's deserved the criticism that he's got because of he's not been performing very well. And Lando's got that car to where it really shouldn't be in the title. And I still don't know how Lando's there in the championship. He should not be ahead of both Alpines. It's crazy that he's done that. But Ricciardo being poor and all this Ricciardo drama is such a good distraction for McLaren about their own poor performance, because I don't think enough people are talking about it.
Say it louder for the people at the back. No, it's true with Ricciardo. So McLaren bought a load of lower drag parts, including a new rear wing. And Ricciardo's had a problem which had to be changed on Saturday, and they only bought one per driver. So he had to go for another wing, which was higher downforce and made him much slower, which once again is kind of just never really talked about. But yeah, I agree. I think McLaren's, well, the car apparently is just incredibly difficult to drive. I know Norris has been able to, like you say, get it in some really good positions like the podium in Imola, which still seems absolutely crazy looking back that he managed to achieve that with the car that, you know, at the start of the season, like in testing, it was just terrible. So fair play to Norris for that. But yeah, just a really disappointing year for McLaren. And like you say, I feel like it's not really talked about because everybody kind of piles into Ricciardo and says, well, he's washed and blah, blah, blah. But generally the package McLaren have got isn't great. But then with Alpine, they too have made some pretty shocking strategy calls so far this year, or not had things quite right when it comes to Fernando Alonso, for example. So I think they both have their pros and they both have their cons. But if I was to, at this moment in time, say who I think would finish fourth, I think Alpine might just have the edge over McLaren.
Agreed.
Definitely. Also,
Absolutely.
One thing I think it's worth adding is that race for me was the perfect example that we're not getting a midfield podium, because the fact that the two of the cars started at the back, Hamilton got yeeted out, and they're still not even close, are they? Absolutely nowhere near to getting an Alpine
Alonso
or a McLaren or anything on the
seconds off the lead.
Yeah, absolutely no chance that we're getting that.
Well,
shame.
Kill those hopes and dreams, baby girl.
Well, I mean, I'm still waiting for a bit of rain or something, some craziness. That's what I'm a bit of Bottas bowling.
Singapore.
You never know. You never know. This isn't a question, but I think it just is worth mentioning because we haven't, we're all yesty besties, but I think we also need to give a shout out to Pierre Gasly, who started from the pit lane and finished P9. I think that is a brilliant drive from Pierre, especially considering how bad that AlphaTauri has been this year, and to drive that pretty dog of a car to 2 points is very nice.
Heavily rumored at Alpine now as well that he might have a chance. And if you're an Alpine boss watching that race, who are you going for? Gasly, Ricciardo, or Mick Schumacher? 100% Gasly.
Nicholas
if you can.
Latifi. Oh,
but then Ocon doesn't get on with him. So
French fireworks.
Those two don't like each other like that. As much as you've got Pierre Gasly driving well, I don't know. Can you see them ever working together in like team orders or something or anything like that?
No.
It's going to be Ocon versus Perez times 10.
I think Drive to Survive are just behind them, like, do it.
Yeah, literally. But who knows? I mean, Alpine aren't in exactly a strong position right now.
You never know.
Or they'll just get Piastri, which apparently is the thing today. They're going to the CRB, aren't they, to find out what the contracts are saying. Next question. Let's talk about it. Ferrari. Jordan Cook, 38. Why did Leclerc pit at the end with the risk of coming out behind Alonso? Well, okay, for this, I'm actually not going to go in on Ferrari because I am of the opinion that, fair enough, they were in fifth. They had a 19-second gap to Alonso. They put softs on. And for me, I'm not particularly angry with them for doing that because like you take a risk. They came out on fresh softs. Alonso was easy pickings. So at the end of the day, it was just a bit of a risk to try and make it happen. And I mean, it's kind of pointless. But then again, 1 point might well be the difference between second and third in the constructors if they're fighting Mercedes, which may well be the case coming into the season. The problem, obviously, is Leclerc speeding in the pit lane. Now, I guess when you take in all the factors, maybe you can blame Ferrari slightly because of this burnt sensor that was in that was gone on the front right because of Max Verstappen throwing a banana skin of his tear-off visor into it. I mean, come on, Tommy, like you were 80 points clear at that point. Why you got to do that?
Cruel.
That's quality.
But yeah, so for those that don't know, Max's tear off got stuck in Charles Leclerc's front right tire, so then they had to pit and get rid of it basically, and then that consequently burned a sensor or something, which then meant that it was slightly off in terms of how they measured speed or something.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, and not only that, but Leclerc sped in the pit lane by 1 kilometer an hour. 1 kilometer.
His tweet, I can't remember exactly. I'll try and find it, but it gave me like you vibes with the fact that it was kind of like really sarcastic, like what a brilliant day.
Yeah, it was a brilliant day at the end. And for those that haven't seen that tweet, I then replied saying crying session at my house at 8, pull up, and he liked it, which was I found quite funny.
Wow.
So yeah, he's he can relate to that
knows.
sort of stuff. But no, I'm not going to have too much of a go at Ferrari because it was worth the risk, but at the same time, if they were of the knowledge that Charles wouldn't be able to accurately kind of measure his speed coming into the pits, then that is a blunder. But they have a backup sensor which apparently wasn't fully calibrated or something. So, I mean, it would suggest that with 1 kilometer an hour over the speed limit. It's just at the end of the day, another bit of Charles Leclerc bad luck. And it is what it is.
We had to get a Charles Leclerc sympathy corner in here somewhere, right? Like, it just had to happen. What were you going to say, Tommy?
No, go on, you go. Okay.
I was just going to say, I think it was a risk for Ferrari to pit him. And, despite Alonso's cheeky comments, like, it is fact that, the pit stop wasn't even that slow. And yet it was very obvious that he was going to come out extremely close to Alonso. But I guess they just hoped that with the slipstream and stuff that he'd be able to get past if Alonso did get past him. But it's just an added bit of just drama. And like listening to the Leclerc radio, he really didn't seem too keen with the idea. But they were like, no, box, do it. But maybe that was a case that he should have just said, no, guys, I'm not going to risk it. Piss off. So who knows?
No, well, I'm on YouTube and podcasts. I'm not going to say S-box.
You can say piss.
You're going to say, Jesus Christ. To be fair, actually, you make a very good point about the team radio. I forgot to mention that because, I suppose Leclerc literally said, I don't want to do it. I don't want to risk it. But if you really want to do it, sort of thing. So he kind of left it as, if you really want to do it,
has he not learned? Come on, Charles.
Just say, I don't want to do it.
Be firm with them.
And Ferrari, I guess, were nowhere in the sense of pace. And I think Max Verstappen's fastest lap was very good. So there was a level of not really wanting to do it. So I guess, if you add that layer, maybe you can have a bit of a go at Ferrari. But then again, a bit of a go at Leclerc. Leclerc should just flat out say, no, I don't fancy this. I'm not coming in. Jog on.
Max was so much quicker. Was he actually even going to really do it anyway? Even on the soft tyres, we don't know. It seemed like a huge risk for 1 point. The fact that, like Katie mentioned, they did a pretty decent pit stop. It wasn't like it was a slow pit stop and Alonso got him. Maybe, I don't know where the DRS line was. The activation, was it before Eau Rouge?
It'd be,
was it?
No, I think it's at the top of the hill. At least that's what I remember from the F1 game.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not. Actually, no, maybe that's the activation.
I'm trying to remember because I'm wondering, I know this is like big brain, but I'm wondering if Charles essentially could have slowed down, let Alonso through, got DRS. I feel like that's something that Alonso would have done if he was in that position where he'd have got DRS and then he could have just passed him straight away with DRS.
What, let him through before Eau Rouge?
Yeah, and then
I guess it's dangerous.
The DRS detection zone is just before Eau Rouge.
Just before Eau Rouge, and then the activation is just at the top of
Radial.
Yeah. So let him through, get in the slipstream, get the DRS, breeze past him, and then you've got a full lap without him being in the way. But that's a lot of thinking to do, and it's one of those things in hindsight, isn't it? So it just seemed like a big risk from Ferrari. And also, but it just sums up their season.
Trying to play DRS chicken with Fernando Alonso before Eau Rouge. Are you sure?
Yeah,
Alonso knows
a very
exactly
good point.
What's going
Actually, I think Alonso was probably trying to do the same thing to Charles anyway in the first corner.
When he locked up at turn 1, did you see that? He went a bit wide. He wanted Leclerc to go through.
He
100%.
did, 100%. But yeah, it's just... I watched the Channel 4 highlights and Alex Jakes was just saying that epitomizes Ferrari's season, really, that they're so far behind in the title. Leclerc's gone in to get the fastest lap point, which normally is the easy, free pit stop for the worst of the best cars because there's such a huge gap. Not quite done it right, messed it up, sped in the pit lane anyway, so didn't get the fastest lap anyway, and lost a... It's just so Ferrari, isn't it? It's... Poor guys.
I would probably lose my mind a bit more about it if the gap wasn't 96 or 98 points.
It was like 25, 24 something,
Well, in terms of like the actual difference of mistake, like it doesn't matter really at the end of the day, unless we look, if they lose the second place in the championship by 2 points, then we'll know where they lost it. But again, I think we keep saying there is a level to it where it's Charles' prerogative to tell Ferrari no, especially when he has voiced his opinion He really needs to just tell them to jog on, but he hasn't done it yet. Team WTF1 member Ham Gammon. Do we think it's time that visor tear-offs need to be rethought? Not only is it littering, it costs drivers, teams, points and money. Apparently Seb keeps them in the cockpit.
Of course he does.
Seb's a hero. I haven't given visor tear-offs much thought, to be honest, and it hasn't really
ever come up ever.
Yeah, it's not really been a problem, too much at least. About the not only is it littering, I'm sure they get picked up after the race, either by fans taking them home or by the marshals and things like that. So I don't really think there's much to be said about visor tear-offs personally.
This, to me, screams peak driver dominating. We have to find ways to... it's actually quite funny because going through the podcast questions, I'm getting big flashbacks to when Hamilton was dominating, that, you know, Max has dominated from this drive, and now you get all the questions of, oh, do we need to do this? Do we need to do that? We need to change the rules. Very much deja vu from when Hamilton was winning, and there'd be a random unique incident that everyone would say is really lucky, and then everyone jumps on it and we need to change the rules. There was one about Max did a burnout at the end and someone calling it dangerous and he should have been banned from Formula One and all this kind of stuff. And you've got people saying that we need to change the rules now. These regulations aren't working because Verstappen's too far ahead. And it just screams exactly just only 2 years ago when Hamilton was dominating, and it is what it is.
Well, yeah, I think a success ballast is definitely on the cards.
Of course you do.
I think we stick 50 kilograms in Verstappen's car and then realise he's still too quick, and then
imagine success ballast, because Ferrari either are, if they're not the quickest anymore, they're the second quickest team. They'd be behind everyone with their strategy.
Yeah, they certainly would. But no, Ham Gammon, thank you for your question, but I don't know. Katie, anything to add?
I mean, tear-off visors, firstly, in terms of littering, like a few tear-off visors is nothing in comparison to some of the mess that fans leave behind at racetracks. So I think we need to take some responsibility there. But then also, we've seen visor tear-offs have caused issues in the past. You know, like, although it's not quite as catastrophic as what happened to Leclerc yesterday, Verstappen, I think it was in Saudi Arabia at one point, he had a visor tear-off stuck on his wing mirror or something. So he was having to grab it with one hand going around like the tight, crazy corners in the Saudi track. So they can get in the way, definitely. But I think it's just unfortunate. I don't know, they be made of some sort of like instant degradable material? Probably not. Like, I'm not a scientist, I don't know how it works.
Let it go and then just
it's like in Marvel, like when there was a blip, it just like so yeah, they've been used for years and years, and there's only a few unfortunate scenarios where they get caught in maybe a air duct or something like that, or a sensor, and cause a problem. It's just really unlucky for Charles, but I feel like that's how his whole season is, so he's used to it by now.
Wonderful. More bad luck. I mean,
at least maybe he's getting it out of the way now, and next year is going to be the best year ever. You know, you got to keep positive, eh?
I don't have anything left right now. Sorry, Katie. I really don't. I am empty. Okay, Tommy, it's time. Hopefully you have prepared yourself for the next
Definitely
jingle.
Wasn't doing it during the podcast because I just remembered.
ABCDF1 user-generated, submitted jingle.
Indeed. So I've got one here. It says, "Hello, my name is Nika Magvelashvili." And they've even put brackets. You can skip the last name, but I went for it. I'm a huge fan from Georgia. I just made 3 jingles for your different themed podcasts. I know you did not ask for 3, but I made them anyway.
Love it.
I hope someday I'll visit the UK and your WTF1 space at Silverstone. And if for any reason you end up in Georgia, I'll gladly show you around. Keep up the great work. Best wishes, Nika. Here we go.
Lovely. ABCDF1 time now. Let's talk about how the drivers have graded. D from us and a D from the fans.
Wow, it doesn't matter, does it?
It's not looking good, bruv.
I think it was kind of asking for it a little bit.
Can this guy just have a normal weekend?
Have I just not picked up on this, or was he just terrible?
Okay, we'll give him an A star then.
Oh.
Yeah, little curveball. Boom.
I love that.
Was
That's
that one
so
or three?
good.
That was just one. They did one for the actual podcast itself
Go on, play it.
and Hot Takes Wednesday.
Oh, let's play all three.
Oh,
got
hang
them.
on. I'll play them at the end.
Okay, play them at the end.
That's Tommy's final
save
thought.
them.
Stay
Yeah.
tuned. Okay, so it's ABCDEF1 time. Thank you. Is it Mika?
Nika.
Nika. Okay.
Nika.
Thank you for that wonderful jingle. We now get into the gradings for the drivers for the Belgian Grand Prix in 2022. Here we go. Right, let's start with Lewis Hamilton. E.
It's an F.
Yeah.
E. I can't give him an F. Like it was a misjudgment and it was bad. But
I guess it's
F-worthy,
turn.
like
Yeah, I guess
Leclerc
it's
binning
turn.
it in a wall unforced. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's an E.
I guess because it's lap
Yeah.
1, we'll get a little. He gets a little upgrade, which everyone will call British bias.
Good. Flood it in the
Yeah.
comments. Help the algorithm, everyone. Come on.
E.
E. Yeah.
Yeah. E.
Okay.
Yeah.
E from us. F from the fans. George Russell. I think A. I think he drove very well. Considering it's an undrivable Mercedes to finish 2.5 seconds behind Carlos Sainz, I think was a very, very good performance from George.
He gets a B. He made a mistake catching Sainz.
That's true. He did.
He made a small mistake, lost 6
Yeah.
tenths, and you're like, nope, he's washed. No, I'm giving him an A.
Maybe an A. Maybe you swayed me there, Matt.
Love
Because
that.
he
Nice.
was. Oh,
I'm
okay,
trying,
right.
guys.
He finished 29 seconds off the like in a Mercedes.
Yeah, in a Mercedes,
In a
it was so
Mercedes.
slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite slow in quali. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Don't agree.
Apparently,
cares,
when
Tommy,
you
you've
did your
vouched
mid-season review, apparently I'm too generous with my grades anyway.
Yeah.
You having a go
Yeah,
at me
and here we
grading
go
Sebastian
again.
Vettel. Yeah.
I think he just scrapes an A. I can't give scrapes though. He's an A.
A minus.
No. Okay, so A from us and a B from the fans. Max Verstappen, C.
Well done, fans. You're right.
Oh, shut up, Tommy.
E. He made it boring.
Yeah, E.
Yeah,
E
F
for
for
Verstappen.
Verstappen, definitely.
A star from the fans
Easiest
as
A star
well.
of the season,
Woo,
I think.
A triple star. We love Verstappen.
You're not
Sergio
bitter.
Perez. It's going to be an A.
B.
Really?
Yeah. You can't be finishing 20 seconds behind your teammate.
17.841
yeah.
seconds behind.
Oh, yes, that makes such a difference.
It's 3 seconds.
I
He
think
should have
it's
got
as a 1
pole.
or 2. I
He
don't
should have
know.
got pole against Sainz. He didn't. He had a terrible start. If he'd have got into the lead, he might have been able to at least have a chance where there would have been team orders, and then he could have claimed that he was quicker and won the race. So no, it wasn't.
No, there was that conversation would never have happened, Tommy. Verstappen was in another league, but no, I mean, fair enough. Look, you're allowed to be again 1 grade lower because I'm still sticking with an A because he did show some really good pace at times and caught past signs. Got a 1-2. Like I don't think that deserves a B personally.
Yeah, I'm going to go for an A, shock. But I love that Christian Horner, after qualifying, was like, well, actually, it is in our favour that Checo starts P2 because, it says in the record books it's a better place to start. So
That's what they were both doing. Then
I agree
falling
that-
off the track. Yeah,
I
and
agree
then lost
that
4 places at the start, to be fair.
his start was shocking. So
Horrendous. But then he just wanted the slipstream up the hill, I think. He thought the P5 was really the slipstream.
he
And
actually knew that
Alonso
Alonso
and
Crash was
Hamilton.
yeah.
They were like, oh no, don't want anything to do with Hamilton and Alonso. I'll stay behind them.
Sorry,
big-
yeah,
big brain stats.
A for Perez,
A
yeah.
star predicted the future.
Okay, so an A from us, Tommy's Grouchy, and an A from the fans as well. The fans were correct. Right, Charles Leclerc.
B. It's hard to know how he'd have done without the
Yeah,
tear
B.
off. So B.
B.
Yeah, B.
B from us and a B from the fans. Carlos Sainz.
A.
B.
Love you guys. Your facial expressions. Why have you graded those things?
Because he actually beat his teammate and didn't finish miles behind him, unlike Sergio Perez, and you're going to give him the same grade. But okay.
Okay, fine, fair enough. A. God, Jesus, sassy Tommy, come out, come to play. No, I
Oof.
think okay, yeah. A. To be fair, I did say in the Twitch watch along that it's probably one of the only weekends where Sainz has shown probably the similar, if not maybe slightly faster than Leclerc. So yeah, I'll give him an A, even though he finished 26 seconds off the lead and started on pole.
I'll go with an A as well.
Cool.
Because
A from
for that
us
reason.
and a B from the fans. So wow, Tommy's switched now. He's now generous grader.
I know.
Spanish bias.
Spanish bias, yeah.
Lando Norris, C.
C, yeah.
Yeah, C.
Yeah, C from us and a C from the fans. Daniel Ricciardo.
C.
C as well. He got mugged off
Finished
with the rear
15th,
wing.
but got mugged off. C. Fernando Alonso.
A.
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 And an A from
Yeah.
the fans. Oh, sorry. I don't know if I said that Lando and Danny got C's as well from the fans. Fernando Alonso, A from us and an A from the fans. Esteban Ocon, A star.
Yeah. It would be rude if I made him my 3-word race review.
Yeah. I think
He finished 2.4 seconds off Alonso. I know Alonso was carrying a little bit of damage, but I think that was still an incredible drive from Ocon.
got to give him that star for the double overtakes as well.
Yep. A star from us and an A from the fans. God, you stingy people. Pierre Gasly. Oh, that is very close.
This
to
is
an
I'd go
borderline,
A
isn't it?
star.
A star.
A star. Why not?
A star
Pit lane to points. Love to see it.
in an AlphaTauri. Yeah, A
Yeah.
star.
Yeah, the AlphaTauri is woeful this year, isn't it?
Yep, A star from us and an A from the fans. God, you really were waking up. Are
Worse
you
than
sure
me.
this isn't just Tommy's grades? Yeah. Yuki Tsunoda, 13th.
C.
D.
Yeah, considering what Pierre managed, I'm tempted to go for a D. But I suppose it's only I'll
He
go
did
for
start at the back as well, I guess.
I'll go
but
for a
yeah,
C, actually.
C from us and a C from the fans. Sebastian Vettel, A.
What's really funny, right, is that when we did the mid-season rankings, we were like, Sebastian Vettel's really high, and we thought, oh, we're giving him too good a grades when he does well in Aston Martin. But he's getting an A for this because he was great.
He was.
Yeah, he was
I know.
genuinely great.
I got given the blame for why he was so
Yeah,
high.
it was your fault.
I didn't have any say in it. I was just listening to it on the bus, being like, "Oh, they're blaming me for that." But yeah, I'm going to give him an A. I don't care.
Yeah, A from us and an A from the fans. Where were we? Stroll, Lance Stroll, 11th. Almost managed to get some points, but was stuck behind Alex Albon's choo-choo train for the entirety of the race. It's going to be
C.
C.
High C.
A high C, but it's a
Yeah.
High
C.
C.
Same as the McLarens,
Yeah.
really. Just
He
all
could-
those guys stuck in that train.
He did put on, I know we don't grade over the whole weekend, especially like practice and stuff, but he was looking really racy in some of the practice sessions with the times that he was setting.
A star.
So.
Sorry.
What?
He was looking racy in the practice sessions.
yeah,
He was
he
too
was
early.
fourth
He was
at
on-
FP1.
He was
A
on pole
star.
at one point, wasn't he? If
Yeah,
if
all the
all
penalties
the rest of
FP1.
the session had got washed out again, and yeah, he would have been on pole.
So A star then.
Yeah, definitely. No, C.
C.
I'm just putting a bit of Lance Stroll praise out there because normally I'm so horrible. So, you know,
Nah, still finished.
I do have
20,
nice things to
25
say.
seconds off his teammate. But then got stuck behind Albon for the entire race, which was very difficult to overtake. But yeah, C. C from us and a C from the fans. Nicholas Latifi, F.
Yeah. So
It's just
slow.
such an unforced error.
I was
White
listening.
Look at
Bottas.
other people.
I was listening to
Yeah.
his interview, and he thought he'd got on the marbles
I know it was
Didn't
like
even-
marbles from the.
from.
From what?
the track-
From
yeah,
F2 or
It's like,
something?
mate, you
Well,
were
no,
in
I
the
think-
gravel.
I think he's talking about the marbles before he then washed wide
Ah,
into the
okay.
gravel. So he's saying like he was off the racing line slightly,
Right.
which is just, I mean, come on, everyone's going side by side through there at lap one. Like no one else dipped, like not even a wheel in it. He was half the car was in the gravel.
Hamilton
just
crashed
asked
though, so Latifi's better technically.
Well, Hamilton, yeah, I think
joking.
that there was some
The
misjudgment there, but
yeah.
You take out Bottas on his
Latifi's-
birthday as well, instant F.
Oh,
well, that's fine. That's good. That means Bottas could get drunk earlier.
true.
You know what I mean? He did him a
He's
favour.
got Latifi's got to go next year, hasn't he?
Yeah,
He's
100%.
gotta go.
He's
F. So
got to
F.
go.
F.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He was
sorry,
in a good
babes.
position and then bottled it. F.
yeah, and especially after what his teammate did.
Exactly.
True
Okay,
that.
so an F from us and an F from the fans. Alex Albon, A.
A star.
A star.
Yeah. Qualified 6th, finished 10th in a Williams. Absolute tractor.
Is it right? This is what I want to. I want to open this debate now, though. Is that Williams actually that much of a tractor, or is Nicholas Latifi making it look like a tractor?
Well, we gave George loads of really good grades.
No, I'm not saying to give him a C. I'm just differentiating between an A star and an A here.
Yeah, but you can say that about. I mean, you gave an A for Perez. He finished 22nd to his teammate.
Yeah,
right?
1-2 though,
14.
secured. Didn't have to push any hard.
I'd say if
hardly,
Albon was in a Red Bull, he'd finish second, wouldn't he? So
you don't know that. He had several.
He wasn't a Red Bull
places.
and he wasn't finishing second. So
yeah, pop off, Katie. You tell the founder.
Yeah, it's an A star for Albon from me.
yeah, he did a great job.
Okay,
And also extra points for the meme that he posted after the race.
Yeah, it was a very good meme.
Good.
That was a good meme. Good pants.
Okay, I'm going to go with an A, but we'll move on. So an A star from us and an A from the fans. Go on, fans. Right, next up, Valtteri Bottas, C, because he got wiped out. Started at the back. Yeah, C. Well, kind of at the back.
Yeah.
So yeah, all good. C from us and C from the fans. Zhou Guanyu, 14th, pretty rubbish race.
We're back to the old Alpha C.
Is it a C?
Yeah.
What happened in this race?
He just was stuck in the Albon train with everyone else. I think everyone's stuck in that Albon train. You just kind of it's C's all round, I think, for him.
Okay, all right, we'll go with a C. It's a low C, but it's a C. K-Mag, C.
C, yeah.
Because the Haas just were horrendous, and Mick Schumacher, C.
C, yeah.
So
did not
C
see
from
the
the fans as well.
at all, did it?
No. So C's were all around for the fans as well there. I'm assuming you went for C's as well, Katie. I just kind of rolled them off there. You happy with C's or?
Yeah, I'm happy with C's. We had a tweet from somebody actually. Oh, just hit my laptop. Let me find their tweet because they were saying about Mick and their grading during ABCDF1. 2 secs, Ted. So it's F1 Girl U. Please recognise Mick catching K-Mag at the end of the race today and showing better speed than his teammate in ABCDEF1 tomorrow. Cannot bear another bad grade because the car is a tractor. So maybe that's Tommy's burner.
I love how everything going on. Russell catching signs, and you've got F1 Girl U going. Hold on, that interval's going down for 16th place.
Yeah.
Mick Schumacher
is actually the guy. Finally, he's showing his potential.
3 seconds of each other.
Yeah, but I mean, what's even the point?
I know.
There is no point to those two fighting or catching each other or anything. So
I'll give them both C's, but yes.
Yeah, C's even.
I hope FI Girly U, whatever your username was, is happy that we mentioned that though.
Hope you're happy. Enjoy the C.
Hope you're happy.
Better than he normally gets.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, imagine he got 17th and we gave him a C. Right, Spa predictions. Good. Leclerc wins. Wins pity of the day.
Wins the heart of the nations.
Wins a free Verstappen tear off.
Oh, that's so bad. Tommy.
Oh, God, I can't wait for you to get off your little pedestal and just topple you one day.
One day, Matt's actually just going to show up at your house while we're recording this podcast and just attack you.
The Grace onesie will, the Max onesie is just...
That's mad. It's still 100% record. It's mad.
Good for you. Vettel out-qualify Stroll. I think
no.
so, right?
That did not happen, did
Did
it?
that not happen?
No.
I don't know.
Then Seb was out in Q1.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Vettel! Right, Katie, what's yours?
Mine was a Mercedes win, which didn't happen. And then TV direction shows the nearby go-kart track.
So lucky with that.
Well done.
That was all because of that blooming...
That 74-year-old bloke that crashed in Porsche Super Cup and delayed the qualifying.
Yeah.
Literally.
This one goes out to you.
Fair play.
Happy birthday.
A point for you. Happy birthday.
It was his birthday on Saturday.
Yeah. Who? The 74-year-old?
Yeah, it was
crashed,
his birthday. What a bad birthday present.
I mean, how
Thanks, you
got
me
a
a point, babe.
74-year-old
to be fair,
race, by the way?
Probably his moment. Like, he essentially
influenced the F1 weekend.
F1 weekend. Who could have said that?
Got me a point, so love you. Sure you're listening. You're definitely our target audience.
Yeah. Tell me what's yours.
Alpine podium, which I was just manifesting, which didn't happen. And Leclerc closes the gap to Verstappen. Another great
Don't
prediction.
ever utter Ferrari positivity in your predictions ever again, because all you're doing every single time you do that is trying to influence the jinx. You know it.
Let me
I
just
know it.
change
We
my
all know
Zandvoort
it.
one.
Oh God. Yeah, I've just realised. My Zamford predictions are definitely in. Right. Fans, what did you do? Vettel, Laporte, Mercedes outscore Ferrari again? No. Maker versus Primus. We actually have a race at Spa and a Mick Schumacher top 3 at any time throughout the weekend. I don't think that happened. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
We're not
he
counting Mick going out in
first out the pit
FP1
lane,
or whatever. That doesn't count. I'm sorry. And Alan Giola, Perez doesn't make it in Q3. That didn't happen either. So wow, we got 1 point, and it was Katie saying about the go-kart track. That's the only thing that happened. Okay, Zandvoort predictions. Tommy, you go first.
No, you go first. What's in your box?
No,
What does it say right now?
Nothing's in my box. It's gone. Tommy, go for yours.
Leclerc pole and Norris best the rest. Katie.
Interesting. I'm going to say mine really slowly to help Matt out because you cannot have that. I'm sorry. I'm going to rule out
I
now.
agree.
You cannot have Red Bull fastest.
That's a Katie
because
prediction.
I was going to have that and then I decided not to.
So it came into your mind as well then. Thank you very much.
I didn't type it out. I went actually in terms of Red Bull, only one Red Bull to finish the race. So there we go. And Alfa Romeo into Q3. That's my predictions.
Alfa back on some good form. Zandvoort's going to be interesting actually to see how I feel like we could get a completely different midfield because it's such a different track.
Yeah. And Matt, what's the second one going to be?
Flair controversy and Leclerc wins. I'm just going to predict it for the rest of time.
Flair controversy is yeah.
So
Leclerc throws a flare at Verstappen.
Yeah, well, look, Terweiser
breaks his sensor.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
He goes through the pits at 300 miles an hour and gets disqualified from the championship.
Good.
Damn.
The fans, they have come in with Connor M. G9884, at least one Ferrari to DNF. Thank you. Matt 7 Handley, Hamilton win, and Josh WG2 Verstappen Grand Slam. Or is it the Grand Chelem? Is that what it's known as?
Grand Chelem,
I believe. Anyway, what a lovely podcast. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed reflecting on Ferrari. And yeah, final thoughts, Tommy.
Final thoughts are we've got another race at a very different track, so we'll see how the order is after that. And I'm also sad that we're not going to be in Zandvoort this year because last year was awesome. It
was indeed. And Katie, what are you looking forward to?
I actually am not going to do a looking forward to one because I just get ripped to shreds every week. Spa renewed its contract for another year, which although is good news because maybe I'm going to manifest going there in 2023. I wish it was longer because I want that circuit to stay for a very long time. Not European bias, just
even though the race hasn't been good for yonks now, which is like
like just seeing the cars go around the track.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's awesome. I wouldn't want it to go.
Insane. Yeah.
Maybe this is for completely different.
And also,
podcast,
I've got so many final thoughts. Sorry, Tommy, you go.
No, you go.
I was going to say the slight track modifications that were made barely noticeable, which is a good thing, I think, because I think lots of people were worried. They're like, oh, they're going to touch Eau Rouge and actually it was just like normal. And I like the addition of the gravel traps. We didn't see anybody go wide at turn 1, so it proves gravel can be great at monitoring track limits.
100%.
Thank you very much.
Even F2 didn't go out in the gravel, and it just shows that the only reason cars go out there is because they can, not that they actually need to, because everyone was absolutely fine.
It's amazing what having hazards can do to people staying on the track. It's amazing. And my final thoughts are
when is the season?
I'm really looking forward to be fair, well, actually, we've got 2 races and then we've got another technical summer break because Russia's cancelled. So then we've got 3 weeks and then to the next race after that. So I'm looking forward to, having some therapy and kind of re-healing again after this. I mean,
another crying session.
Yeah, it's sad really, because now I'm at the stage where I'm like, lost another 2 points. You know what I mean? Like, add it to the pile. It doesn't really do much, does it? But no, love Formula 1. Love it. Looking forward to Zandvoort. Should be good. what a race we've got in store. Zandvoort's not great for overtaking, so I'm not expecting a worldie.
Not called banking though. I'm looking forward to that. If you want to get a looking forward in there somewhere.
Oh, and also, I was also going to say Spa. Yeah, we haven't had a banger in a very long time, but Spa is such a good-looking track and so cool to watch the cars go round that it kind of makes up for the lack of great racing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there definitely needs to be
practice.
a tweak with maybe DRS zones and whatever. Even you like practice, which is something. If you say that, that's a big statement from you, Tommy. Thank you. Right, well, thank you very much for watching. Hashtag WTF1 podcast if you want to get involved next time in the
Someone
discussion.
in the chat said longest final thoughts ever. You can tell that we've been on a summer break, that all our final thoughts have just been building up.
Yeah, been building up. And now I want another summer break. So thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Give us 5 stars and maybe we'll read out your season podcast review even next time. So please go do that. Lots of love. Take care. Adios.
Shall I leave it on the WTF1 podcast jingle from Nika?
We're going to leave you with an intro in the outro. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the WTF1 podcast. Okay, moving on. The end. Wow, that was funky.
That was groovy, baby.
And on that note, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.